Hello and welcome to the very first video of the series, how to make a modded Counter-Strike 2 server. In this series, I'll be showing you how to create a custom Counter-Strike 2 server with custom rules and plugins. If you're interested in Counter-Strike 2 gameplays and tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Alright, so let's get started. Now in this video, I'm gonna be showing you how to set up the very basic server with custom rules, auto bunny hopping, as well as custom default weapons for the players. Let's say for example AVP and Deagle if you want a snipers only server. I will also be showing you how to set up the custom plugin using Counter-Strike Sharp for your Counter-Strike 2 server. So the very first step to do is to copy the entire CS2 installation to a new directory. This is required because we'll be making changes to the game files which will prevent you from playing in normal mode. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy my entire CS2 installation to the new folder I made. If you don't know where your game files are, simply go to Steam, go to Counter-Strike 2, click on the settings icon, and in the manage menu, click on browse files. Now these are the files that you need to copy to the new folder somewhere on your computer. Next, go to game, bin, win64 and copy the cs2.exe file, and in the root folder or wherever you want to place the start shortcut, right click and click paste shortcut. This will create a shortcut to the cs2.exe file. We then open the properties of the shortcut to modify the target field. Simply add -dedicated plus map dust2 and click save. This will tell the game that we want to launch a dedicated server with a default map instead of the actual game. Once done, you can start the game and also start the server to test if it's working correctly. Next, you need to enable the developer console on your game. So go to the settings, search for developer console, and in the drop down make sure it says yes. Next, open the developer console by pressing the tilde key that's below the escape key on your keyboard and type connect localhost. This will connect to your local running server, and if everything went well, you should be able to join your local server. Alright, now let's configure the server with our custom rules. So go to the game, csgo, cfg, and open the server.cfg file as well as game mode competitive tmm, and game mode casual. What I'm gonna do is basically copy the existing configuration from competitive configuration as well as some other configuration from casual, and I'm gonna combine them into a single server.cfg file. First, let's copy everything from game mode competitive and let's modify it a little bit. I'm gonna set the bot quota to 0 to disable the bots. I will also set its difficulty to 0, and then I will also add an extra command called bot kick, which would basically remove any bots in case they are added from some other scripts. Now in the server configuration, let's also set our host name. This is basically the name that appears on the server browser list. And you can also set a password on your server. For now, I'm leaving it blank. The svset Steam account is basically a token required for showing your server on the server browser list in the community servers. I will also set up the game mode. So I'm going to set game type to 0 and game mode to 1, which basically means competitive. Now let's also set up the game rules. I'm basically going to copy everything from bottom and paste it in the game rules section. I will leave most of the settings as is, but I'm gonna change the build time. We don't need that because we'll have fixed weapons, but I'll set it to 3 for now. I'm also gonna enable free armor, so everyone basically has armor just like in casual, even though we are in the competitive game, but I want everyone to have armor. And I'm also gonna set the freeze time to 3 because I want the rounds to start quicker. And I'm also gonna disable the friendly fire by setting MP friendly fire to 0. If you want friendly fire in your server, you can just leave it to 1. We can also change the max number of rounds. I will set it to 18. And we can also change the round time, which is 1.92 minutes. I will just leave it as is for now. You can disable solid teammates if you don't want collisions between players. You can also change start money, time limit, and technical timeouts. I'm going to disable timeouts because I don't want them in my server. And I also want to change the warm-up time to 30 seconds from 120. The all players connected warm-up time is after every player has been connected. By default it's set to 15, but I'm going to set it to 5. I'm also going to disable voting, so players cannot vote for anything basically, because later I will be adding a plugin for custom votes. We don't want infinite ammo. If you want infinite ammo, you can set that to 1. Now in here we can set the default weapons for the players. So what I'm gonna do is set the default secondary to weapon deagle, and I will set default primary to weapon AVP for both CT and T players. You can set these to any other weapons if you like. Now from the game mode competitive TMM CFG file, we are basically going to copy some of these commands. Not sure we're going to use these all because we already have some of those defined in the server.cfg file already. So we already have freeze time, so I'm basically just going to remove it from here. We do have a few settings that we need to change. That is MP overtime enable. We want to disable it because we don't want any overtime. If you want overtime in your server, then you can leave it as is. We can also set overtime limit to 0, and we can also set the timeouts, timeout time to be 0, as well as max timeouts to be 0, because I don't want any technical timeouts for the players. Since this is a custom server, no one's going to need a timeout anyway. We can also set the OT timeouts to 0, so it doesn't really matter because we don't have overtime anyway. But if you have overtime, then you can customize how many timeouts you want in the overtimes. Now, what I'm gonna do is basically delete all the other CFG files and keep the server.cfg file only. I'm also gonna keep some other configuration files. I think those are required by the game. So just make sure you delete only the game mode CFG files and not any other files. Let's start the server and see if everything works. Connect localhost, and we should have AVP and deagle as default weapons. As you can see, we have AVP, we have deagle, we also have 30-second warm-up, and after warm-up we should also have only 3-second freeze time. So let's make sure that the freeze time also works, and now we should only have 3 seconds freeze time, which is what we said in the configuration, and yep, we do. So that's how you can customize the time and everything. Now let's add the auto bunny hopping to the configuration. Go to the server.cfg file again. I'm gonna add a new comment for auto bunny hopping, and I'm gonna write the commands for the auto bunny hop. So the first command is of course sv enable bunny hopping. Set it to 1, sv auto bunny hopping to 1 as well. Set stamina max to 0 so we have unlimited stamina. After that, set stamina jump cost and stamina length cost to 0, and also set the recovery rate to 0. Then set the max velocity to something like 10,000 and set air accelerate to something like 2000. And also set the SV accelerate use weapon speed to 0. This basically prevents the player from slowing down based on the weapon they have. So now we should have auto bunny hopping. So if we go back and start our server, I'll close the currently running one. Let's go ahead and connect to the server and see if we can bunny hop. Okay, so I'm gonna try bunny hopping, and there we go. Now we have automatic bunny hopping. There's no stamina reducing or any costs on the jumping and landing. You can also hold any weapon. You can hold AVP or even the machine gun. So this is how you can easily add auto bunny hopping to your Counter-Strike server. Now let's go ahead and set up our project for the custom plugin. So the first thing we need is Counter-Strike Sharp. This is a mod for Counter-Strike that basically allows us to write custom plugins using C# and .NET. So go to this GitHub page, and in the releases page, you can download the Counter-Strike Sharp with runtime for Windows. I'll place it in the CS2 server folder. Now let's go to the documentation page and see the instructions for setting it up. So the first thing we need is MetaMod, which is basically the source 2 mod. It enables the Counter-Strike Sharp plugin to work. So go to the download page, click on download for Windows and save it in your CS2 server folder. Next, we need to extract the MetaMod into the add-ons folder. So go to the CS2 server and open the MetaMod zip file, copy the add-ons folder, go to game, csgo, and paste. Next, locate the gameinfo.gi file and open it with VS Code or any code editor that you have. Next, copy this command and paste it under the low violence specified command. After that, we need to install the Counter-Strike Sharp add-on. Simply open the zip file, go to add-ons and copy everything, then go to game, csgo, add-ons, and paste. Now you should have MetaMod and Counter-Strike Sharp in the same folder. Now you can also delete the zip files that you downloaded. Let's go ahead and start the server to see if our plugins are installed. Type the command meta list and it should show Counter-Strike Sharp by Muffin. If it doesn't, it means something is wrong, but if it does, then it means you have successfully installed CSS plugin. Next, you need Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio 2026. You also need .NET 8 installed. In the new project, create a class library project. Give it a name. For now, I'm gonna just call it CS2 mods. I'm gonna save it in the same folder as my CS2 server. So locate the CS2 server and create a new folder. I'm gonna give this name my plugin. And next, I will also check place solution and project in the same directory and click on next. In the framework, make sure to select .NET 8 because that's what this plugin requires, and click on create. After creating the project, right click on dependencies, click add project reference, go to browse, and then navigate to your folder where you have the CS2 server. Go to game, csgo, add-ons, Counter-Strike Sharp, API, and then select the Counter-Strike Sharp.api.dll. Click on add. Once you have done that, you can now go ahead and create the Hello World plugin. So I'm going to copy the Hello World plugin code from their website. Now, instead of printing the Hello World message, I'm going to print a message to the console whenever a player is connected. To do that, all you have to do is create a new game event handler called onPlayerConnectFull. This is basically called whenever a player is connected, and in this function we can simply print to the console that the player has joined the server. I will also rename the plugin and go to build and click on build. This will build the DLL file that we have to copy and paste into the Counter-Strike Sharp folder. Go to the output path of the project. Copy all the DLLs and go to add-ons, Counter-Strike Sharp, plugins. Here you have to create a new folder and make sure the name of the folder matches the name of the DLL, otherwise the CSS won't load this plugin. So in my case, I have cs2 mods.dll, so I'm also going to call the folder cs2 mods. And then I'm just going to paste all the files and start the server. In here, we should be able to see loaded custom plugin. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for it in the console. And there we go. You can see we have loaded custom plugin message printed to the console, and it also says loaded plugin cs2 mods. Now let's connect to the server to see if we get the message in the console. And as you can see, we have player name joined the server. Currently we can only see it in the server console because there's no other players. But if there are other players or if you're already in the server and someone else joins, you should be able to see this message printed in the game. Next, I want to set the output path of my project so that every time I hit build, it automatically saves the DLL to the Counter-Strike Sharp plugins folder. This is so I don't have to copy and paste the DLLs manually every time. Simply go to the project properties, set the base output path to the folder Counter-Strike Sharp plugins and the folder of your plugin. Then right click the project, click edit project file, and in the property group, simply modify the base output path to be just output path, and also add the two extra properties called append target framework and append runtime identifier. Set them both to false. This is so we don't get the debug or release folders in the plugin folder. Now when I build the project, you can see all the DLL files are directly added to the plugin folder. Alright, so this is it for this video. In the next video, we're gonna be making some changes to the plugins. We're gonna be adding some custom cheats as well as some custom behavior to the game. I will also be showing you how to load custom maps and so on. So thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.